All right, all praise, glory, and honor is most certainly due to the Most High Elohim of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I want to say peace to each and every one of you in the name of His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, who we know as Jesus the Christ. It's always a blessing each and every single time that I can come forward to bring a message contained in His Word. I never count it as a light thing to do so. In today's message, I want to deal with a very simple principle that was set forth in the very beginning that has been forgotten today, and that is to be fruitful and multiply. When you look at the earth, everything around you, when you look at nature, when you look at the animals, when you look at the plant life, everything is trying to reproduce. There is something that the Most High has embedded into all life forms to replicate themselves. Everything, as the Bible says, after its own kind. When it came to man, what did He say? Let us make man in our image and our likeness, and let them have dominion. He gave man the institution of marriage, the most important institution amongst mankind, to bring forth children. These children ultimately are the children of Elohim. That's what man is. And when he made man, he was reproducing himself. The gravity of such a statement cannot really be measured, but we have lost sight into what it means to be human. We have lost sight into what our potential is. We have ruined as people the greatest institution, the most important institution, which is marriage, again, by which to build the civilizations that we have. That is the foundation. The foundation is the family. Marriage is the beginning of family. So we have devalued these things, and you see certain countries like Japan on the verge of collapse, population collapse, and you see Western countries, particularly in Europe, uh, or even the United States, being threatened with not having enough people. You need people. People are the greatest resource, but ultimately, man is again the reproduction of Elohim, and that's why He made man. So let's look at a couple things because we've forgotten the reality, and the reality is that children are a blessing. Let's pick it up. I want to pick it up in the Bereshit, in the book of Genesis, and I want to pick it up here in Genesis, the first chapter, and we'll pick it up at verse. Let's see, pick it up at verse 26. And it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him, male and female created He them. Then it says something in verse 28. "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth." In other words, fill this earth with your kind. That was the mandate that was given unto man. So He said, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And He gave you the institution of marriage by which to make that happen. This is Genesis, the second chapter, and verse 23. It says, "And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. The woman is Isha, man is Ish. Isha means from man." And He institutes marriage here, the Lord does. It says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." But why did He make them one? Why did He make them one flesh? Let's go to the book of Malachi. So in this book of Malachi, He tells you, while He's reprimanding men who have been treacherous with their wives, He's telling you why He brought man together and made them man. When I say man together, I mean man, male and female. Why He brought them together, why He made them one. It says here in verse 15, "And did not He make one? Yet had He," well, let's pick it up in verse 24 so you know what He's, little context of what He's talking about. It says, "Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. And did not he make one? Yet had he the residue of the spirit. And wherefore one?" Or in other words, why did he make him one flesh? That he might seek a godly seed. Again, man is the reproduction of Elohim. Therefore, take heed to your spirit, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. So ultimately, he made man, and he made male and female, and he gave them an institution of marriage by which to bring forth children. It wasn't that you were just to bring forth children just because, and it wasn't that you were not to bring forth children, but you were supposed to bring forth children within the covenant of marriage. And children, brothers and sisters, are a blessing. This is Psalm the 127th division. It says in verse 3, "Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward." So again, that is a wonderful thing. He goes on to tell you in Psalm 128, blessed in verse 1, "Blessed is everyone that feareth the Lord, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee." Notice what he says here: "Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord." So again, children, brothers and sisters, are a blessing. And quite frankly, we as a people, we have forgotten that. The children we have, we're not doing a very good job collectively of raising our children in many of our urban areas, because we are not giving them the moral compass, the moral standard by which to live, and that is none other than Torah. We've forgotten that. We are bringing them in situations where there is no strength of the home, which is there's no father. That fatherlessness is one of the biggest problems that we have. That is detrimental to us as a community, as a people. We must go back to the old ways. He gave us a blueprint of how to behave. And children, brothers and sisters, are a blessing from the Lord. Okay, so that's just a little bit on that. While you watch the birth rates plummet, while you watch women say they don't want to have children, while you watch us as a people who we have aborted 20 million children, and America has, as a nation, has aborted well over 60 million. You know, you can't do things like that and expect things to turn out well. Even just on a simple basic principle, just forget the immorality and the sexual debauchery. When you talk about you don't want to have children, which is an idea that we see in feminism being pushed, question that you should ask yourself, and you need to find an answer: who's going to take care of you in your old age? It's supposed to be your children. But if you don't have any children, and I've known people this has happened to, you in your house dead for several days because nobody knew that you died. Why? Because you had no husband, because you had no children. But what if you want to spend your last days, it is ideal that it is surrounded by those who you loved, those even that came forth from your womb. As they cry as you depart, understand that you have been instrumental in building a legacy of a man's household. Let's read this. It's the last place. Let's pick it up and see an example of what I'm saying here. Let's pick it up in the book of Ruth. So now this is when Ruth was married to when Boaz took her to wife to fulfill the Levirate law, the duty of the kinsmen, near kinsmen or brothers. It says in verse 9, in Ruth 4:9, "And Boaz said unto the elders and to all the people, Ye are witnesses this day that I have brought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's and Melhan's of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Melhan, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren. And from the gate of his place ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. And do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. Understand, brothers and sisters, the nation of Israel was built with women who were, when you look at how they were at odds with each other, they were at odds about building man's household. Understand so much so that if you look at the building of that house, when they went into Egypt, they were roughly 70 souls, and in a few hundred years were well over 1 million people. Why? Because they were having children, so many that the Pharaoh looked at it as an issue of national security. But children, brothers and sisters, are a blessing, and we should never forget that. And we should cherish our children and raise them up in the way in which they should go. And when they are old, they won't depart from it. With that, brothers and sisters, I want to say peace to each and every one of you. And it is always a prayer that you will edify.